Hello, this is Yeti Whiskers, and today we're going to be walking through the Rollin Deck Hard Get There challenge on Roswell. In order to complete the Get There challenges, you need to include all the gaps listed in the challenge in a single combo. Each level has 2 Get There challenges, one easy and the other hard, and to earn the Got There trophy, you need to complete all the Hard Get There challenges. To find the Get There challenges, you need to make your way over to the challenges on the menu here, and then head down to Skate Park Challenges, THPS 1 Get Theirs, and scroll down to find Rollin Deck. As you can see, you need the Rollin Channel, High Deck, Roswell that ends well, and Gray Grind gaps. The rewards for doing so is this deck, 2,000 XP, and $1,000. Before we dive into the analysis, let's take a look at a few things. Personally, I think the difficulty on this one's a 9 out of 10. It took me about 2.5 hours to complete this one. This is one of the most difficult hard get-theirs in the game, so be patient and keep trying. The first gap we need to include in our combo is the Rollin Channel Gap, and for this you need to air over the Rollin ramp where you spawn on the level. You can see I've got a little blue arrow here showing where that's at. And you can use the quarter pipes to arrow over it, or you can grind, ollie, and then grind again. And in my opinion, the second option is the easier one, especially when you're in the middle of a combo. So here's a clip from the Roswell Gaps video I put out a little bit ago showing this gap. The second gap we need to hit is High Deck, and for this one you need to arrow over the entire upper part of the deck. So I've got a green arrow showing where that's at. This gap might be the toughest in the entire game to trigger consistently. You need a lot of air, and the timing on your boneless to get over this has to be perfect in order for the gap to trigger. So I've seen some videos saying that you absolutely must wall plant off the borders of the level and then acid drop into the quarter pipes in order to get the speed required, but I think that's a little misleading. You can see in my video that I don't do that. In either the gaps video, we'll see that in a second when I do it solo, or in my Get There challenge. You just have to have your special and do a trick on the opposite quarter pipe, come back down, and then you just got to time your boneless perfect in order to get this gap. Once you kind of get up in the air, I'd recommend tapping R2 like crazy once you get about 3/4 of the way over the deck. And then if you've hit the gap, you've got enough speed and air, your skater will start to do the acid drop animation. And from there, you know you've done it. Just get ready to revert and manual and continue to a combo. So let's take a look at this one. Next, we need to get the Roswell that ends well gap, and this requires you to manual up a ramp and through the room where the little alien's hidden. So I've highlighted this in yellow. It's pretty straightforward. My only tip for this one is just hold down the ollie button as you manual, and that'll keep your speed as you head up the ramp. So here it is solo. And the last gap we need to get is the Gray Grind gap. And I've highlighted this in purple. For this one, you just need to grind the 3 rails without hitting the ground. Again, fairly simple and straightforward. So here this one is all by itself. Now that we've seen all the gaps individually, here they are together. There are a few different lines you can take for this, and I would recommend getting to know them both fairly well. So for me, I started with the High Deck gap, hit it in the direction headed towards the Rollin Channel, hit that, grinded until I was lined up into the manual for the Roswell that ends well gap, and then jumped into the Gray Grind from there. So the other possibility is headed the other direction with the High Deck gap, where you're headed towards the Roswell that ends well manual, hit that, jump into the Gray Grind, and then connect into the Rollin Channel Gap. And I've seen videos doing both, so I would recommend getting to know them both fairly well, and then just going back and forth over the High Deck gap until you get it to trigger, and then continuing your combo from there, whether that's to go from the Rollin Channel or go into the manual. It just depends on which direction you're going. So get familiar with them both and just know that once you do get that High Deck gap to trigger, at least in my opinion, in my experience, it's going to be a while again before the gap triggers. So get ready and nail it. So let's take a look at this in slow motion. Okay, so here we are headed up the opposite quarter pipe. Just going to do a triple kickflip to get us some speed. And boneless here, up over, you start tapping R2, you can see the animation, revert manual, grind immediately, jump, hit the Rollin Channel Gap there, and then we're just gonna grind all the way around here until we can line up our manual for the next part. So right here you can see we just ollie out, and then hold our manual, and I'm holding the ollie button here again to keep my speed through this Roswell that ends well manual gap. Say hello to the alien as we pass by. And then you jump into your Gray Grind here. 1, 2, and then here's the third one. And make sure you hold triangle until the gap triggers. Don't end this early, and you land it and should be golden. Good luck on this one, friends. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this one in full speed. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and good luck on this one.